that actress Brittany Murphy was fired from her upcoming film The Caller for being a detriment to production, and oh no. Brittany Murphy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Blink 182!
You are not the host, Brittany Murphy.
30 days in jail on the first DUI case consecutive, and 30 days in jail on the second DUI case consecutive. That's 90 days in jail.
A little bit about me. I'm an actress, a singer, an entrepreneur, and I have single-handedly kept 90% of all gossip websites in business.
Can you explain how Lou Taylor conspired to get Lindsay under conservatorship without Lindsay even knowing what was happening?
I mean, she went behind Lindsay's back, tried to befriend Lindsay's mom, Dina, my ex-wife, the same way she did it with Brittany's father. She does target the weakest link, so to speak. And of course, what better time to do it than when someone's in rehab to say that they have issues and they can't take care of themselves. When in fact, even when Lindsay was in rehab, she was in a place where she could take care of herself.
Lindsay Lohan's time in Hollywood has been a wild ride, full of highs, lows, and everything in between. She went from being one of the biggest stars of the early 2000s to stepping away from the spotlight completely. The reason? Life in the public eye became too much, and Lindsay needed to walk away to save herself. After years of staying quiet and focusing on healing, she's finally sharing her side of the story, and it's nothing like what fans have heard from the media. Lindsay says the version of her life people know is just one side of the truth, the side spun by tabloids and gossip. Behind the scenes, she was battling something much darker. According to Lindsay, Hollywood's power players weren't just hard to deal with, they were actively trying to ruin her. But now, after years of struggling in silence, she's ready to face those demons head-on, determined to rewrite her story and avoid the tragic fate of stars like Brittany Murphy. So, what exactly did Lindsay reveal? And is there more to her story than anyone realized? Back in the early 2000s, Lindsay was on top of the world. She starred in hit movies, owned red carpets, and seemed unstoppable. But while her career was thriving, her personal life was anything but. Many fans didn't realize just how chaotic things were behind the scenes.
Wow, I'm so excited. I cannot believe I'm hosting the MTV Movie Awards. This is going to be so much fun. Oh yeah, these are my parents, Donald and Judy Lohan. Hi, gang.
It is always so nice to meet Lindsay's friends.
MTV said they had to be here with me, since I'm not 18 yet.
She's the youngest host they've ever...
In May 2004, Lindsay Lohan's father, Michael Lohan, made headlines for all the wrong reasons. He was accused of hitting his brother-in-law, Matt Sullivan, at a family First Communion party in Merrick, New York. Unfortunately, this was just the start of a series of messy incidents. A few days later, Michael was in trouble again, this time pleading guilty to attacking a sanitation worker. And if that wasn't enough, shortly after, he was arrested for stealing services. The tabloids couldn't get enough of the drama, and suddenly, the Lohan family's private chaos became public entertainment. While Lindsay was climbing her way to the top in Hollywood, her family's issues kept dragging her into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. It's no surprise that as soon as she turned 18, Lindsay decided she'd had enough. She packed up her things, left her family home, and started staying in ultra-expensive hotels like the famous Chateau Marmont. At just 18, Lindsay Lohan had enough money to buy herself a $1 million mansion, and she did. But instead of settling into her new home, she chose to live in hotels. Why? According to Lindsay, it was because she didn't want to feel alone. Whatever I needed, I could just go downstairs, and there were people there, she said. Now, looking back, she realizes how unhealthy that way of living was. It lacked structure, stability, and consistency. This was also the point where cracks started to show in Lindsay's life. She was still so young, and Hollywood wasted no time taking advantage of her vulnerability. Magazines began featuring her on their covers in scandalous poses, treating her more like a product than a person. Meanwhile, she was still finishing up her last Disney movie, Herbie Fully Loaded. But it was clear Disney thought Lindsay had outgrown her child star image. Instead of helping her make the tricky transition into adult roles, they essentially cut her loose. Suddenly, Lindsay was left to navigate the cutthroat industry on her own. Without anyone to guide or protect her, Lindsay Lohan quickly became the perfect target for the tabloids. Stories about her late-night partying, run-ins with the law, and multiple trips to rehab were everywhere. She was trapped in a cycle of mistakes and bad headlines, and no one seemed to care enough to truly help her. Her personal struggles soon started to affect her career. In 2004, Lindsay was hospitalized for a mysterious illness, but instead of concern, the industry turned on her. Gossip swirled that her health issues were caused by her wild lifestyle, not legitimate sickness. By 2006, things had only gotten worse. James G. Robinson, the CEO of Morgan Creek Productions, wrote Lindsay a harsh letter accusing her of being irresponsible and unprofessional. The letter criticized her repeated absences and late arrivals on set, dismissing her claims of illness as excuses. "We were told today it was heat exhaustion," he wrote, "but we know your all-night partying is the real reason for your so-called exhaustion." There were plenty of rumors about Lindsay Lohan's partying, but a source close to her told People that things weren't as bad as everyone made them seem. "She hasn't been crazy partying. In fact, I've never seen her so together," they said. Still, it was clear Lindsay was struggling. Many fans believe she might have been exploited behind the scenes, and her drinking and partying were simply ways to cope with a dark and overwhelming reality. While dealing with personal challenges, Lindsay also had to face constant tabloid scrutiny while keeping up with work to pay the bills. In hindsight, Lindsay remembers just how overworked she was during those years. In one interview, she opened up about the chaos of balancing multiple projects. While filming Herbie, Fully Loaded, she was also recording her second album, a little more personal, raw. "I was recording an album in my trailer on the movie set and promoting it at the same time, like doing TRL appearances," she said. She even recalled a moment when she needed to see a dentist but was so busy that the dentist had to come to her on set. "It was just so much, all the time," she said, highlighting how relentless her schedule had become. Lindsay Lohan reached a point where she felt like she had to disappear from the spotlight. She realized that as long as there was a story to tell, the media wouldn't focus on her work. It would always be about the drama. "Unless there's no story here, they're not going to focus on just my work," she said. It was as though Hollywood had squeezed every bit of her star power and then tossed her aside when someone newer and more charismatic came along. This situation felt eerily similar to what happened to Brittany Murphy. Brittany Murphy, once a beloved Hollywood star known for her roles in Clueless, Just Married, and 8 Mile, found herself struggling to stay relevant in an industry that had once adored her. In the years leading up to her tragic death, she faced constant rumors about her behavior. Her husband, Simon Monjack, believed that all the gossip about her being late to sets, her alleged struggles with remembering lines, partying, and even her supposed substance abuse was used to destroy her career. After stories about Brittany Murphy's struggles hit the tabloids, things only got worse for her. Her husband, Simon Monjack, remembered how Hollywood turned its back on her, even dropping her from Happy Feet 2 after rumors about her personal life spread. Simon recalled how his wife cried for hours because of the way the industry treated her. It was heartbreaking. But that was just the start of her troubles. Simon believed there was a conspiracy against Brittany, especially among her former agents and managers. He claimed that she was fired from her upcoming film The Caller because she was seen as a detriment to production. Hollywood seemed to be trying to push her out, and Simon felt powerless watching it happen. In her final years, Brittany left Hollywood behind, not because she was turning down huge movie offers, but because she wasn't being given any roles that let her show what she could truly do. Simon explained, "It wasn't about the money, it was about not being offered anything where she could really show the world her talent. She could sing, dance, act. She was meant to do all these things, but somehow Hollywood blocked her from doing it." There was a time when it seemed like Lindsay Lohan was about to be placed under a conservatorship, much like Britney Spears had been. Her manager, Lou Taylor, almost made it happen, and it looked like Lindsay's life could be controlled by the people around her. But surprisingly, it was Lindsay's dad who stepped in to fight for her. he revealed that her mom, Dina, and her manager, Lou Taylor, were trying to take complete control of her life. They wanted to be co-conservators, but Lindsay's dad wasn't having it. He said he had to make a choice: fight it or petition for conservators who actually cared about Lindsay as a person, not just her money. "I don't want to be a conservator," Lindsay's dad said, "but I will be damned if Lou Taylor, who only knows Lindsay for 3 months, or Dina, who can't handle her own life, gets to control her." His main goal was to make sure Lindsay's life and career were guided by people who truly cared about her, not those just looking to profit. If the conservatorship had gone through, Lindsay might never have had the chance to rebuild her life. Or worse, things could have gotten even worse for her. It was a critical moment, and her dad's decision to fight for her made all the difference.
Explain how Lou Taylor conspired to get Lindsay under conservatorship without Lindsay even knowing what was happening.
I mean, she went behind Lindsay's back and tried to befriend Lindsay's mom, Dina, my ex-wife, the same way she did it with Brittany's father. She does target the weakest link, so to speak. And of course, what better time to do it than when someone's in rehab to say that they have issues and they can't take care of themselves. When in fact, even when Lindsay was in rehab, she was in a place where she could take care of herself.
You know, sometimes you just end up having people around when you're younger in this industry just to have people there. Because you're always around people, and then it can get very lonely. Because I was lonely.
How were you able to prevent them from getting her under conservatorship?
TriStar Sports and Entertainment Group, how may I direct your call?
You know, I wanted information and she couldn't provide that information, and the information she did provide was kind of deflected, and she went on to another subject, so she didn't address the questions I asked. You know, Lindsay was always first and foremost my daughter, and that's all that mattered to me. So I didn't have access to the finances. I never got a penny or wanted a penny. I just wanted her to be in a good place and surrounded by good people. The people that came around her and the friends and leading her in the wrong direction, you know, it was hard. If they're a kid, you have to really keep an eye on them. Keep that leash.
Lindsay Lohan, after leaving the drama of Hollywood behind, moved to Dubai, where paparazzi are banned and she could find some peace. However, life in Dubai hasn't been as easy as she hoped. Rumors have started swirling, claiming that Lindsay is working as an escort. Her father, Michael Lohan, even reportedly said that Lindsay is being paid to date rich men and that her mom, Dina, is taking 20% of everything Lindsay earns. The accusations are troubling, with Michael suggesting that Dina is exploiting Lindsay because of her financial struggles. One source backed up these claims, saying that Lindsay's dates with these wealthy men sometimes last for days, with the men covering all expenses, including hotels, flights, meals, and even giving her expensive gifts like jewelry. While some say Lindsay is just acting as arm candy for rich men who like to be seen with a beautiful, famous woman, the men she's been linked to include high-profile names like Prince Abdulaziz of Brunei and artist Domingo Zapata. After Lindsay got caught up in a hit-and-run incident, things took a turn, and she seemed to pull back from the public eye. But even as she tried to stay out of the spotlight, rumors about her personal life kept spreading. One source claimed that Lindsay was always asking for more cars, dinners, and clothes, never satisfied with what she had. Around this time, she was also seen hanging out with Vikram Chittal, also known as the Turban Cowboy, who owns a chain of luxury hotels. Some of Lindsay's friends defended her, saying that the rumors about her being an escort weren't as big of a deal as people thought. They explained that Lindsay was in serious debt and that no one was willing to hire her anymore. Lindsay herself even seemed to view the whole thing as a way to do method research for a potential acting role in the future, claiming that acting a certain way for good money was just part of the job. Lindsay Lohan has been through a lot in her life, and it's clear her journey hasn't been smooth. Without a clear backup plan or education to rely on, it's always been a bit worrying for her future. But recently, Lindsay has been trying to make a comeback in Hollywood, and things are finally looking better for her. She signed a deal with Netflix and has starred in romantic films like Falling for Christmas, Irish Wish, and Our Little Secret. In fact, Irish Wish even became one of Netflix's most watched movies in over 100 countries.
On top of that, she's been seen sitting front row at fashion shows for major brands like Saint Laurent, Balenciaga, and Michael Kors. Fans are starting to feel positive about her comeback. One fan commented, "I'd love to see her thrive again, but I'm not sure if jumping back into the industry is the best thing for her. She seems really happy and healthy now, so maybe she should just focus on that. But I understand her frustration. She really loves acting and wants to reach her full potential. Still, she knows it won't be easy." It's clear that Lindsay still has a tough road ahead. Surviving in such a harsh industry is no small feat, and she deserves praise for how far she's come. But do you think Hollywood really tried to bring her down? And will Lindsay ever fully heal from all the struggles she's been through? We want to know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to check out our next video.